What really happened when Taehyung cried in Jungkook's arms at Incheon Airport before leaving for Paris? Was it exhaustion, hidden tension, or something deeper? Join the emotional discussion, like, comment, and subscribe to share your thoughts. What really happened when the world froze for a moment at Incheon Airport, when Kim Taehyung, better known as V from BTS, broke down in tears and found himself clinging to Jungkook's arms before leaving for Paris? Was this an accident caught on camera, or a glimpse into something much deeper that the fans were never meant to see? Was it just exhaustion, or did emotions between the members overflow in a way that left ARMY stunned, confused, and heartbroken? These are the questions exploding across social media as clips of the emotional scene spread like wildfire, fueling endless debates, theories, and tears. Before we dive into the heart of this moment, make sure you pause, breathe, and join the discussion by leaving your comments, liking, and subscribing, because what you are about to read will shake your perception of that night forever. The airport has always been a stage for BTS, where their private emotions are often laid bare under the blinding glare of camera flashes and screaming fans. But no one expected what unfolded on that tense evening at Incheon. Taehyung, who is usually calm, playful, and collected, suddenly seemed vulnerable in a way that shocked even his closest followers. The scene began innocently, as the group prepared for their journey to Paris, surrounded by chaos, fans chanting their names, and staff rushing to keep things under control. Yet something unusual flickered in Taehyung's expression, a heaviness in his eyes that didn't match his usual charm. Was it just the pressure of another long trip? Or was something else simmering beneath the surface? Then it happened. Taehyung lowered his head, his lips trembling as though fighting back emotions, and before anyone could predict the outcome, tears streamed down his face. Cameras clicked faster, gasps echoed through the crowd, and fans held their breath as he stumbled closer to Jungkook. Without hesitation, Jungkook opened his arms, pulling Taehyung into an embrace that silenced the chaos for a fleeting second. ARMY watching from afar described it as one of the most raw and heartbreaking sights they had ever witnessed. The golden magne didn't just hold him, he held him tightly, whispering something no microphone could catch, something that fans are still desperate to know. Was it comfort, a promise, or an apology? The mystery only makes the moment heavier. For years, fans have speculated about the bond between Taehyung and Jungkook, their chemistry on stage, their shared laughter off stage, and their subtle gestures of support when no one else was looking. But this was different. This wasn't scripted fan service. This wasn't a playful moment captured for entertainment. This was real. Taehyung's tears weren't a performance, and Jungkook's embrace wasn't a rehearsed act. It was two human beings, stripped of the idol facade, clinging to each other in front of millions. And that truth shook ARMY to the core. Social media exploded almost instantly. Hashtags trended worldwide. Taehyung crying, Jungkook comforts Tae. And even Taekook Paris filled Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok feeds within minutes. Some fans speculated that Taehyung was overwhelmed by the pressure of leaving Korea, perhaps feeling the weight of upcoming projects or personal struggles he has never shared publicly. Others pointed to his recent schedule, noting how little rest he seemed to have had before the trip. But then came a different wave of theories, ones that carried more intensity. Could there have been tension within the group? Did Taehyung and Jungkook share a private moment earlier that day that spilled into public view? Was this embrace a reconciliation, an apology, or even a desperate attempt to hold on to each other before being separated by work commitments in Paris? The truth is still hidden, but the scene itself refuses to leave anyone's memory. Jungkook, ever the anchor for his Hyungs, didn't let go until Taehyung steadied himself. Observers noticed how Jungkook shielded Taehyung slightly with his body, almost as though trying to protect him from the relentless gaze of cameras and fans. It was subtle but powerful, the kind of gesture that shows how deeply these two understand each other. What did Jungkook whisper? Was it reassurance that everything would be fine? Or a secret meant only for Taehyung, leaving fans forever locked outside that moment? As the flight to Paris continued and the members disappeared from sight, the internet refused to move on. Fan edits flooded YouTube and TikTok, each replaying the moment from different angles, slowing down the embrace, zooming in on Taehyung's tear-stained face, and analyzing every single frame as though decoding a mystery. Entire forums erupted with long threads debating what triggered the breakdown. Some pointed to exhaustion, others to something far more personal. A number of fans even connected the dots to previous emotional moments, recalling times Taehyung had expressed how much the members meant to him, and how Jungkook has often been his emotional anchor when the world becomes too much. Yet what makes this moment unforgettable is not just the tears, but the silence that followed. The usually noisy airport seemed to hold its breath, as if even strangers present there understood the gravity of what they were witnessing. Fans cried behind their cameras, staff exchanged worried glances, and somewhere in the middle of it all, Taehyung leaned on Jungkook, exposing his most human self. How often do idols allow such raw vulnerability to be exposed, especially in a world where perfection is demanded every second? In the days since, ARMY has flooded platforms with messages of support, assuring Taehyung that he is loved, that he doesn't always have to be strong, and that his tears are not a weakness but a sign of the depth of his heart. Jungkook, meanwhile, has been praised endlessly for stepping up, for being the steady force who held Taehyung together when it seemed he was about to break apart. Some even say this is proof of why BTS's bond is unshakable, why their connection goes beyond music, beyond fame, into something almost brotherly yet uniquely theirs. But the questions remain. What really caused Taehyung to cry? Was it a personal struggle, a private moment spilling into the public eye, or simply the weight of being one of the most famous men on the planet finally cracking his exterior? And what does Jungkook know? What did he feel in that instant, holding his best friend so tightly, as if trying to keep him from falling apart? Perhaps the answers will never come. Perhaps this was one of those fleeting moments meant only for the two of them, captured accidentally for the rest of the world. Yet it is exactly this uncertainty, this mix of pain and beauty, that has left the ARMY community unable to stop talking, crying, and remembering. It was more than just an airport scene. It was a reminder that even the brightest stars have moments of darkness, and that sometimes the strongest thing one can do is lean on someone they trust most. So what do you think? Was this an emotional outburst that simply caught the cameras at the wrong time? Or was it a glimpse into a bond far deeper than fans usually get to see? Could it be both? Share your thoughts below, join the conversation, and let's keep this moment alive together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this story. Because if there's one thing this moment taught us, it's that BTS always has the power to surprise us when we least expect it. What if the tears at Incheon weren't just a fleeting glimpse of exhaustion, but a story stretching far beyond what fans could see? What if Taehyung's emotional breakdown in Jungkook's arms was only the surface of a hidden storm that's been building quietly behind closed doors? These questions haunt ARMY as more details of that unforgettable night continue to surface, pushing fans to wonder if this was one of the most revealing moments in BTS's history. The journey to Paris was supposed to be glamorous, a shining chapter in BTS's ongoing influence in the global fashion scene. Cameras were ready to capture Taehyung's elegance and Jungkook's effortless charisma as they prepared to represent Korea on one of the biggest stages in the world. Yet instead of runway-ready smiles, fans were given a fragile human moment that no one could have scripted. The juxtaposition was almost surreal. On one hand, the glitz of Paris awaited, but on the other, raw pain poured out in the middle of Seoul, in the very airport where BTS's strength had been celebrated countless times. As ARMY dissected the embrace, more theories began to weave together. Some believed that the Paris trip itself might have been the trigger. Could Taehyung have been feeling overwhelmed at the thought of facing a massive event while already carrying invisible burdens? Others whispered that the timing of his tears hinted at something far more personal, perhaps an unresolved tension between him and Jungkook that finally melted away in front of millions. Fans who watched closely noted Jungkook's eyes during the moment, focused, protective, almost pained, as though he understood more than anyone else why Taehyung was breaking down. Was this embrace their way of sealing an unspoken truth?